ideas. What happened that day?
Well, their narrative is that I was never invited to speak at the event. I just showed up with my big ego and decided to crash their event and take the speaking spots away from the poor nurses and other people who had speaking spots. And I was this big bad villain, and they're just trying to save everybody from me and try to save the movement from me because I'm going to destroy the whole anti-lockdown movement.
Now, when you say they, just
they is Randy Hillier, the PPC, all the politicians that are secretly trying to hijack the freedom movement and turn it into a failed and irrelevant political campaign. They don't want me to speak because my message is united non-compliance. It is and always has been. It's the same thing Gandhi used to beat oppressive governments. You simply get the entire population together for a common good cause. And in this case, it's take off your mask, open your business, and that's it. And the pandemic's over. And you don't need a politician for that. You don't need an election for that. And
that's actually a really good point, because Ottawa was a prime example of that. When you're not looking at how the narratives are being painted, and just look at how everyone got together. They weren't afraid. They could wear their masks if they wanted to, or they didn't. And it was like a giant dance party. And that's the whole thing, though, with politics in general. This is why I hate it. Once politicians start trying to support a certain movement, they try to make it a political standing for their party rather than just don't attach politics to it. Because once politics are attached to most things, you're no longer a movement. You're just another billboard till the election comes.
Well, exactly. And like for this specifically, I was like pretty concerned because, you know, he sheds a lot of light onto the PPC as well. And before I was like, yo, like PPC all the way, but it even like sheds light on like how they're a little bit like shady in the backroom dealings.
Well, that's what people were telling me when I started covering you guys, is that the PPC were they were a party, but they were also a party wanting to have it. What was it, like British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba separate from Canada? They wanted their own. They wanted to pull a Quebec thing or something. That was part of the PPC. Like it was like a Wexit or something I heard about, and I was like, I never even heard about this. And I was like, what the hell? So
yeah, really weird.
Exactly why they didn't want me speaking, because they want you to need them. If you don't need them, if you don't give them your money and your support, they don't have a job. They don't even exist. And so they're trying to hijack this freedom movement. No More Lockdowns is Randy Hillier's organization. They were throwing the event in conjunction with a place called Liberty Coalition. Kellyanne Wolf contacted them on my behalf to verify that I would be able to speak there after I got notification from my lawyer that I was legally allowed to. They emailed back from the official No More Lockdowns email stating, yes, Chris is allowed to speak at the Supreme Court. And I showed you that. I told you I couldn't give it to you, and I'm not going to show it to anybody until 2 Peters, but I did show you that it exists. So you can confirm that I had an email stating that I was allowed to speak at the Supreme Court. You saw it, right?
I saw something. I mean, in this day and age of shenanigans online, who knows? But Chris.
Wow, that was a BS answer right there. Wexit was ages ago. Lisa, all right, thank you, because people were bringing it up in my chat during the Ottawa coverage, and I was sitting there going, I don't really care. And people are trying to say it was still relevant today.
The bigger
Excuse me. Wait. I'm gonna dial you back there. Did I not show you an email?
Yes.
That said Chris was allowed to speak at the Supreme Court.
You did.
Okay, that's all I want to say.
But I'm just not one of those technical persons that can verify.
Well, it will be verified because I will be giving the exact document. So the reality is.
But Chris, if I may interrupt.
Go ahead.
I find this a little sad, and I'll tell you why. Whether you're Mr. Hillier, Mr. Bernier, Pastor Hildebrandt, yourself, others, you all should be on the same page. You are all about opening up the economy.
No, we're not. That's the problem. We're not on the same page.
You don't think so?
No, they're on the page where they want to turn the freedom movement, which is simply people getting up off their ass, doing what they need to do to end this, like take off their mask and open their business, and they want them to sit on their couch, throw their money and their votes towards these politicians, wait for an election, and then wait, hopefully, for their guy to win, and then let that guy be the one to tell them what to do. That's the politicians' thing. And that's why they used me. They invited me to speak. The same day I got the email that said I could speak, a flyer went out with my name on it. They said it was an unofficial flyer. And I have a timestamped email, and I have timestamps showing when the flyer was posted. And the flyer was created and posted after we got email confirmation saying I was allowed to speak. And then I promoted it on every single platform possible. So I brought a huge number of the people there. So what do we have? We have the politicians telling me I can come speak. We have me promoting the hell out of their event and me driving 5 hours to get there and show up for the event. Then as soon as I got there, I walked up to the stage and I politely asked what time I would be speaking at, because I was trying to coordinate a phone call with somebody in a different country who wanted to record the event. And one of the PPC members went up to me and said, oh, well, we, and I said, who's we? And he declined to tell me who we was. We had an internal risk assessment, and we decided it wasn't in our best interests to allow you to speak.
Now I'm going to cut that up quickly here, and I'm going to bring it back to that billboard comment I was talking about. If that was true, and because I don't know much about this, but if let's say you get a confirmation email, next thing you're on a flyer for the hell of it, he just, in a way, he was just billboarded to get people down there.
Oh, 100%.
That's the shit we're talking about, because we see that in any politician, whether it be Jagmeet Singh promising the disabled communities help last year, or whether we're seeing people like Doug Ford or anyone else saying, oh, there's already funding for disabled people. It's $100. Yeah, $100 has been there way before. So yeah, politicians and they can't tell you we, it means they made a decision to just use you as a prop. And
so instead, we're going to give you time at the end to do a shout out, and then you can tell everybody to go to Parliament Hill and you can speak there. Parliament Hill was everyone wearing orange, an anti-candidate event. So obviously I didn't want to speak there. Obviously they knew I didn't want to speak there. So they basically invited me, used me to promote their event, and then set me up to basically be cast aside so they could take my entire support base and transfer it from the freedom movement into their own personal political campaign. And then because I'm who I am, and I fight for freedom, I fight for truth, I fight for justice, I fight for honor, and I'm not going to let anybody take advantage of me. I stood up for myself and said, you guys are the People's Party, right? So why don't we let the people decide if I should be allowed to speak? And I said, let me ask the people.
Yes. Yo, that's brilliant. No. That's brilliant.
So the People's Party didn't even want to allow me to ask the people for their opinion. So I said, guess what? Now you don't have a choice. I'm going to take that megaphone. I'm going to walk up on the Supreme Court steps. I'm going to ask the audience if they want me to speak. And when everybody says yes, I'm going to take over your event. And then everyone's going to know you tried to silence me. And that's exactly what I did.
Chris, you said it yourself, the E word, ego, as a neutral observer. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. I think we are witnessing in the anti-lockdown movement perhaps a clash of egos. Twas ever thus when you have so many people vying to be the leader, the spokesman, what have you. This is what happens with that. But I mean, is that really what we're seeing? The anti-lockdown movement.
What we're seeing now is that
whoa. Again, he has used the same terminology twice. First of all, he's trying to label him as a leader. That's not the case. He's a speaker on behalf of the people. He wants all the people just to unite. He's not taking leadership. And then they called it the anti-lockdown movement again. And you see this dude already is beginning to sound like this was a setup from the beginning, because he keeps using the same titles. It's like when we're watching another mainstream news.
You're trying to pretend like the truth doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with ego. No, if I invited you to speak somewhere, that's an allegation, because I'm saying what you just said. Okay. If I invited you to speak somewhere, I have documented evidence, and then you got there and I tried to tell you weren't going to speak, and you stood up for yourself because that's what's right and that's what's true. Am I going to say that that's your ego talking, or I'm going to say you're just somebody who's standing up for what's right?
Well, first of all, it was just my observation, and
that's an observation. That's an observation people can make without having the facts. I just gave you the facts. I even showed you the evidence, and you still brought up the exact same narrative that every single opposition person has been saying, trying to push the ego thing, and you just pushed it after we got documented evidence, and I just laid out exactly what happened. So I don't know now.
Front page news back in May. There's the Chris Guy story. Anti-masker Chris Guy allegedly threatened to kill Ontario leader than all other leaders. Chris, that was a bombshell story. The man making the allegations, Rob Carbone,
and that's the only evidence they have, by the way. Allegations from somebody. Yep. So that's the equivalent of me calling the police right now and saying, Dave Menzies wants to kill Doug Ford.
Well, first of all, let me ask you point blank. Did you ever say that? Did you ever say that you wanted to kill any politician?
No.
Okay. So now the other part of this is, Rob Carbone, who
This looks like a music
he
video.
and you were
Yeah.
buddy for so many
I can
months.
tell you exactly what happened with Rob Carbone in about 5 seconds and clear everything up. Rob Carbone presented himself as Canada's Donald Trump. He presented himself as someone that had international banking ties. He had me put in contact with banking people around the world. He presented me with these bank bonds that on face value, when checked out, appeared to be real, even when verified by multiple agencies that verify these kind of things. However, when it came down to the actual paperwork for these things, nobody could verify the paperwork, so they were obviously fraudulent in some way because they could not be used. That was just part of the problem. Rob lied about virtually everything. He tried to hire a campaign team to register the Republican Party, and after about 5 weeks of working with these people, they came to me and they confessed none of them had been paid $1. Then his website said he hadn't been paid. Then his merch guy told me he hadn't been paid. Then I saw the notification that he hadn't even paid his friggin' rent. This is a supposed billionaire that's going to run the country and save the country. And he's
wait. So this guy's the Canadian Trump, air quotes, and he wants to bring a Republican Party into Canada?
I have no idea, but like this guy, I'm so confused. Like this guy was supposedly trying to, I don't know, get something out of Chris Sky or whatever, try and befriend him. And then it turned out to be like, what is that movie called where Leonardo DiCaprio has all those like fake.
Oh, you're talking about Catch Me If You Can with Tom Hanks.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It reminded me so much of that because he's like, his whole entire persona is a bluff.
And I think what it comes down to is Menzies is just jealous because the last time he wore a V-neck, the dinosaurs still roam the earth, and I think that's the problem here.
Oh my god,
his teeth are really white too, bro. I got Chris. Chris has like the Boba Fett teeth. They're really white. I was like, holy shit. Yeah.
Scammed multiple people for money. And then when I found out that he committed fraud and I had actual evidence of a retiree wire transferring $15,000 to Rob Carbone from his thing to Rob's thing, and all the correspondence of Rob coercing this man to do so for an investment that doesn't even exist, I came to Rob and said, Rob, not only did you not pay anybody that you were supposed to pay, now I find out you can't pay your rent and you're taking people's money for investments that don't exist. That's called fraud. So I'm not going to get in trouble for you. I'm going to have to report this. And then within 2 days, Rob called the police and said, oh my God, Chris is threatening to kill me. Chris is threatening to kill Doug Ford and everybody else. Come get him quick.
And his allegations in the story, of course, is that you wanted money from him.
Wait.
I
I gotta hold on. Look, give me 1 quick second. I gotta quickly. Why does he have the rogue hair from X-Men? I'm trying to figure this out right now. Instead of like sucking superpowers out, he sucks the money out of people. That's where the gray streak came from. I'm just wondering.
You wanted money from him.
Oh, yeah.
Turned off the taps and
turned off the taps. Yeah, he can't even pay his rent. He turned off the taps. Good luck, buddy.
So who exactly?
And I'm a billionaire, but I'm renting a condo. Okay. Anyway, guys.
But who exactly is Rob Carbone then, Chris? I mean, there are allegations.
He's a con,
he
a
might be
liar, and a fraud. And I'm pretty
allegedly.
sure and I would say he's an informant with the police. And I'll say that because of the way I was arrested. Because the way I was arrested, they lie in the media and say they came to my house and that I jumped in a car and ran away from them and tried to run police officers over. That's the allegations that they put in all these newspapers that I saw.
So this is crazy.
Reality was I was driving to the gym. I was on Keele Street, heading westbound from King Road on a normal public road, driving normally, when a completely innocuous gray sedan, completely unmarked, completely unidentified, drove by me on the left-hand side. Nobody identified themselves. There was no markings on the vehicle or the occupants in the car. And when they passed me, they got in front of me and they slammed on their brakes. And as soon as they slammed on their brakes, I had to actually stop in the middle of the road on Keele Street, heading westbound. And as soon as I stopped in the middle of the road, two men, not wearing uniforms, in black masks covering their face, with guns drawn in their hands, start running at my car. like it's a Colombian drug cartel kidnapping. And I'm somebody that gets death threats virtually every single day.
Wait. Usually when something like that happens, they consider you a threat. They don't have it at their sides. They're raising it and they're telling the people to get out of the car, please, or put your hands up and take your hands off the wheel. That's usually how police procedure go, right?
Well, yeah.
So what would you or anybody with a brain in this situation do? And what they acknowledge I did, I put my truck in reverse, created a safe amount of distance, put it in drive, and drove around the two unidentified assailants to get away. That's what I did. All of a sudden, that got turned into I tried to run over a police officer or assault with a deadly weapon on a police officer. Everything here is politically motivated. It was timed to coincide with I was supposed to leave the next day for a tour and to launch my book in Vancouver. And coincidentally, I get arrested the very night before, and they put all these conditions on me to try to prevent me.
Oh, I'm not dissing Chris.
I can't fly. I had to be with my bail surety. They got a warrant to go to my house and take all my legally owned firearms, all based on the hearsay of somebody making a phone call to the police and saying I said something.
Chris, switching gears again, moving on to the weird world of social media. And I have to bring this up because it's a thing. We even get questions. Why do you give Chris Guy the time of day, given that he is a Holocaust denier? And
oh my God,
I have been to the concentration camps. How many of you so-called Holocaust proponents have actually gone to Germany, spent hours on a train, hours more on a bus, and then hours more exploring Sachsenhausen concentration camp? I saw where they kept the Jewish people. I saw where they kept the non-Jewish people. The only thing I've said about the Holocaust is when they tell you 6 million people died, that's a biblical reference, and it's about fulfilling a prophecy for the Jews to come home to their homeland. And they've used that reference multiple times in media well before World War II, going back all the way to the early 1900s. So that is not Holocaust denial. And the only other thing I said about World War II that people try to criticize is, yes, we know Jewish people were persecuted. We know they were killed, and it's horrible. But so were 30 million other people during World War II. So we need to remember everybody. And when I said we need to remember everybody, they're like, oh my God, you're a Holocaust denier. It's like when someone says all lives matter, and then someone screams, oh, that means you mean black lives don't matter. No, that's not what it means at all.
What the hell?
So
yeah.
Anyway,
whoa. That's the one thing that's been bothering me since the Black Lives Matter shit came on here. All life matter includes all life, not just humans. It means all life, animals, plants, every insect. It means all life matters because all life does matter.
Like Menzies is just like throwing everything he's got at him, and I'm like, how is Chris just like boom, deflect? Like I gotta give him like major credit for being able to handle it as well as he did, because like straight up, like, so how does it feel to be a Holocaust denier? Like, are you kidding me? That's like so insulting.
Well, Chris, because the internet is forever, I mean, some of those posts from years ago have been republished. Here's one, quote, 6 million Jews were murdered is the biggest lie created in the history of fake Jew history, end quote.
That is,
why would you say that?
Because 6 million people did not die in the Holocaust. If 6 million,
how many did then?
We have no idea of knowing.
Really?
But for them to claim an exact number when it's completely impossible of knowing, it's completely impossible of knowing. And there's lots of different references, like the World Almanac, that show the population before and after. When Israel was created between 1946 and 1948, with all the stuff that was going on, millions of Jewish people habitated to there. So 6 million people didn't just die, they relocated. So when they say 6 million people, like I said, it's making reference to their biblical prophecy that says once 6 million of us perish, we will get our homeland back. So that's Chris, why they chose the number of 6 million, because it's written in their book. There is no way of knowing how many people died in World War II. For someone to go and say 32 million people died in World War II, that's complete hogwash. So for someone to be able to go and say, especially in concentration camps, that this many people died, a specific number, that's complete hogwash. There's no way of knowing how many people died. Well, do we know they were persecuted? I would dispute 1,000,000%. That's indisputable. Do we know they killed a very large number of people, probably in the millions? Yes. Do we know that they killed 6 million on the dot, or 6 million, that number? No, and nobody can prove that, and that's what I am saying.
Well, Chris, have you ever reached out to Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Remembrance Center in Jerusalem, who has done incredible decades worth of research? I mean, I've been there several times. I remember a curator once saying when they had the original number, it was 18 million. And then they wanted to be bulletproof. So they went through the records over and over. And sometimes people were double, triple counted, and they whittled it down to 6 million. Now, if you had an agenda to make the Holocaust look worse, you would have gone with the 18 million.
Okay, but
so have you ever reached out to the experts in the field?
Oh, okay. So the experts first said there were 18 million, and then the experts then said there were 6 million. So were they right when they said 18
But they
million?
wanted to be bulletproof.
Oh, so they wanted to. So now, because they said they're really, really sure, that means they're 100%. First, it was 18 million. That's triple the number. Now, they're really sure that it was 6 million. Does that mean they're 100% sure?
No, but explain the
Excuse
reason.
me.
Some people were counted 3 or 4 times.
That's wonderful. So does that mean that they missed any more that could have been double counted, or some people that were counted that weren't really dead? Does that mean that the 6 million number that they came up with is 100%? Can you tell me? Can we contact them right now and they're going to say the 6 million number is 100%, or will they say it's an estimation? Will they say it's our best estimate?
Well, you know, Chris, it's sad.
I asked you a question. Will they say it's 100%, or will they say it's an estimation? When their previous estimate
But that's a good question. Estimated or for sure?
Figure.
Because for sure means fact. Estimate means
they believe. So it's not a figure.
Chris,
it's something that they're literally making up, like I said, and they're saying this is our best guess.
But Chris,
a guess is still a guess. A guess is still something you made up. So when you quote me and say you're denying the experts themselves are telling you this is a number that we're making up based on the information we have available. Based on the information we had available, we thought it was 18 million. Now we're guessing it's 6 million. So that's all I'm saying.
Guessing. It's doing decades and decades worth of research.
That's wonderful.
You've gone to some
you can say whatever you want, regardless. You admitted that it's their best guess.
Well, I didn't say guess.
Their best belief. Sorry, a belief is still a guess.
Well, I think based on decades worth of scholarly research.
And now I'm 100% sure that you guys have changed your stripes, because this started about an interview about anti-lockdown, and it turned into let's assassinate the character of Chris Sky and try to make the Jewish community not like him. When I have very high support from the Jewish community, because some of my best friends are Jewish. No, I know exactly what's going on now, David, and now I know why I didn't get contacted by Rebel News for a couple months, and now I also know why you guys got demonetized off of YouTube.
Oh, shit.
You lost all your income, yet somehow you started hiring all these new people, and somehow your station keeps growing. And now when I go on your feeds on Twitter and stuff, it reads more like a mainstream media platform instead of the Rebel News of old.
Well,
you guys are starting to disappoint me, David.
No, Chris, listen,
I hope you don't edit this out to make it look to try to make me
Chris,
look bad.
this actually this attack on me and my organization.
It's not an attack, it's just an observation.
If I may speak. We have always given you a platform. When we see allegations made, I'm giving you, in all fairness, time to respond to those allegations.
And I did. And you keep trying to push the narrative that I'm a denier and trying to push everything. You even tried to push the narrative that it didn't matter that they lied about Ottawa. You tried to pretend like I didn't show you an email. You said, oh, it could have been anything. You're literally feeding every narrative that they're using to attack me right now.
Look at
and
the
you're playing into it. So, David, I think I'm going to cut this interview at this, and I don't think I'm going to be
I totally don't blame him.
Really?
No.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Well,
have a nice day, Dave.
Okay, well, you know, what can I say, folks? We were trying to give Chris.
This is the first time he's turned to the camera.
Some of these
the whole time.
Some of these social media.
And look at the color in his face.
It's
dissipating a bit. Look at that.
By him, and
that's
I guess he
hair, right?
didn't want to pursue that. I had many more questions and many more directions to go on this. I'm sorry that
you can hear Chris in the background
Chris
going,
taken such a
"Where's the
stance
door?
as this,
I just
maybe
want out
with
of
the passage of time, he will come back. We'll see.
He's not coming back, David. Like,
you guys have to do certain things, like trying to make you look fat. It's okay though. Have a nice day. Sorry, you guys probably won't be seeing me anymore because it's not worth it.
I thought it was important to address this because we receive feedback.
Okay, right now I'm getting a feel of not only like The Office, or like where you're having one of those back interviews where they're talking about, I thought you would just do the paperwork. I didn't realize he was throwing it out in the garbage can. That's where it starts. It's starting to feel more like one of those CBC parodies right now. Their back room. Dude, the guy.
well, I love how he's still going on about it. Like, yo, like we did the right thing. Like, it's like, do you not like for 1 second think to stop and be like, like maybe we just pushed that a little too far? No.
It's the whole thing when I was bringing up before, remember we were talking on your channel last week, right?
Yeah.
When that statement with, oh, we're here to show the real truth, right? That phrase in itself is great, but it's up to you just not giving your opinion sometimes and just showing what's happening, because the people that are watching, however many, will make up their own opinion of what they're seeing as the truth in the environment being shown through the camera. As soon as you start believing more and more that we're showing the truth and that will protect you no matter what, you're already developing that same type of ego that, let's say, Rebel News once had, of how to just deliver the truth and show what's going on for real time. And like when they have leaked phone calls and all like that stuff, the truth is always a line that has a middle, but it also has different sides of how it's being told, depending on the person on either side of the truth or the story being told.
Viewers saying, how do you give a Holocaust denier a platform? And I just wanted
whoa, already labeling again. Holocaust denier. He never once did he admit he was a denier. He was saying that the numbers have been changing.
Find out what his side of the story was, but I guess I'm off Chris Guy's Christmas card list. It's too bad because I had a lot more questions to ask him. And the thing is, we're not on anyone's team as a journalistic organization. We're kind of like the umpire folks behind home plate. We're calling balls and strikes. And listen, just like a ref calling offside, when you see something that is offside, you got to raise it.
All right. First of all, I want to say one thing there. No one, who you guys labeled yourselves as an umpire or the ref. So why is it you label yourselves as a ref as over a story or a predicament without any backup to why you should be the ref? You're literally saying you're able to choose whether it's a ball or strike. Yet we don't even know the stature of your character or your organization.
And he could have had I was giving an opportunity to refute that or maybe to have a different opinion on this, but Chris chose to leave. So,
but he did. He spent what, 30 minutes with you, 20 minutes
Especially
with
in
you.
Concentration camps that this many people.
The Nazis were pretty methodical.
oh yeah, I was trying to say that Nazis were great record keepers.
I felt that because we are generally sympathetic to him, we would be a good forum for him to say, oh, that thing I wrote years ago, well, I was just a hothead or I was stupid. But I just watched the tape of you having an argue with him, and he sort of doubled down, and then he stormed out. What do you make of that whole thing?
Yeah, like you, Ezra, I like Chris. He's larger than life. He's almost a cartoon figure. I say that in a good way. He's great on camera.
Yeah.
And what the situation we're in is we've had emails. I've had emails personally sent to me saying, how can you give a Holocaust denier a platform? How can you not even have the gonads to address these odious views? And you know what? They're right. First of all, I wanted to find out if he was the author of these posts. He doesn't deny it. Secondly, like you, I was hoping to hear, you know what? I was on a rant. It was late at night, and I was.
Well, I would like to hear. Doesn't have the balls. You're still attacking his character, saying he wasn't man enough to give you what you wanted.
I know how you feel about Twitter.
Yeah. Well, let me close with one thought here, and again, I'm doing too much amateur psychoanalysis. Why was Chris so mad? It's not because this was an ambush. You've talked to him about it before.
Yeah.
They keep saying ambush, not a gotcha. You notice how they keep using these words, trying to say it's not this. It is this.
It's not because you were unfair. You put the questions gently. Partly it's because he's a stubborn guy, which is what we like about him. But I think the reason
think that's a guess.
Why Chris Guy stormed out of here is because he deeply loves your reporting.
Oh my God! Come on!
Oh my God! Please tell me Ezra was not jerking him off after the show.
Complete coldness. I actually don't think he's a Jew hater. I just don't think he is.
That's good enough for me, and I never called him that.
No,
either,
I know you didn't. I just don't think he is.
Okay.
But he just won't say, "Oh, that's a stupid thing."
Yeah.
What a shame. All right, I'll let go because you're great journalism here. I'll get out of the way.
Thank you, Ezra.
So that's
Folks,
an
it's-
interesting thing to say too. That's an interesting way to end it off because they're kind of like, yo, I don't think he's a bad guy. So like, please come back on the show, please. It's like, come on, man.